Hello. Across Australia, workers continue to face a generational housing crisis. Rents and house prices continue to increase, waitlists for social housing are becoming longer and longer, and homelessness across the country is growing at an unprecedented rate. 100,000 houses in Melbourne lie vacant, while 70,000 people stay stuck on the Victorian Housing Register, desperate for a stable home. Young workers suffer as wages stagnate and house prices soar, and the Labor government seems to have no interest in a real solution. But the housing crisis isn't just all about wages, house prices and jacked up rents that line the deep pockets of greedy landlords. People's lives are being put in real danger in the interests of profit. What happens to the mum and dad who can't afford that rent hike and school lunches this month? What happens to the young worker who needs to move to the city to find work but can't find a safe and affordable place to live? What happens to the mum and her kids escaping family violence, seeking a home away from her abusive partner? We need to ask ourselves what happens when the housing crisis created by capitalism really takes hold in somebody's life. When these various crises become concrete and the contradictions and injustices of the capitalist system take effect in our lives, people need to turn to social and community services for help. They turn to all 250,000 of these workers who are on the front lines of the housing crisis, providing life-saving, essential services to vulnerable members of our communities right across the country. In the midst of this generational housing crisis, as demand for social and community services skyrockets, the Unfair Work Commission is moving to cut the wages of workers in the sector by up to $900 a week. These are the housing workers, family violence workers, AOD and mental health support workers who are already paid like shit, who are trying to piece back together the lives of vulnerable people caught up in a crisis of capitalism, caught up in rent hikes, stagnant wages and soaring house prices. These are workers who will always put people before profit, working in a system that will always put profit before people. Workers from across the country need to unite on October 23rd for the National Day of Action called by the ASU. It's pretty simple that we have to protect these workers from the Unfair Work Commission's disgraceful wage cuts. So I want to tell you to join Socialists in the ASU at the VS Centre in Brunswick on October 11 at 1 p.m. to join the fight and help build the campaign. If you want more information about the National Day of Action in your city, follow ASU Socialists on Instagram and we'll see you there on October 23.